Welcome back to ECOSTRESS tutorials. This tutorial will teach you how to visualize an ECOSTRESS image in QGIS, create a layout for it, and export it. Let's start by opening up QGIS and creating a new project by selecting Project and New. Now let's click Save and name the project. Next, let's add a base map. Go to the QGIS plugin and select Base Maps and select from one of the items on this list. I'm going to choose Google Satellite. If you do not have the QGIS plugin, make sure to see our previous Installing QGIS tutorial to get this set up. Now, in the browser pane, we're going to click this Home dropdown and navigate to where our file is stored. Once we see the file, we can either right-click and select Add Layer to Project, or simply click and drag it into our map. Now you should see it appear in the Layers pane. Right-click and select Zoom to Layer. I created this image by downloading ECOSTRESS LST data from a peers, applying a cloud mask to each of the images, and then creating a composite of them. If you want to learn how to do this, see our previous tutorials. However, for this tutorial, you can visualize any image you would like. Now let's adjust the style of the image. Make sure the image is selected, and then click on this icon that looks like a paintbrush. This will open the Layer Styling pane. In order to change the image from black and white to color, click on where it says Single Band Gray and click on Single Band Pseudo Color. Now, from the Color Ramp dropdown, you can select one of these options, or you can create your own. For now, I'm going to choose Spectral. In general, it's good practice to have lighter colors representing lower values and darker ones representing higher values. In order to change the color ramp so that the red values represent higher temperatures and the blue values represent lower ones, select the Color Ramp dropdown again, and this time select Invert Color Ramp. You can also choose a blend mode if you would like to see some of the base map showing through. If you click this dropdown, you can select from one of the options. I'm going to choose Hard Light for this example. The last thing I want to do is go here and click on Legend Settings. Then, under Number Format, click on Customize. Here you can decide how many decimal places will be shown in your legend. For this example, I want whole numbers, so I'm going to change this to 0. Now I'm going to click these blue arrows to go back. Now you have your raster image visualized in QGIS. With this project open, go to the top and select this icon, which is the new print layout icon. This will prompt you to name your print layout. Then select OK. A new layout window should appear. You can use your mouse to scroll in and out of the page. If you go to this tab and select Item Properties and then click on the page, you'll see some options appear. For example, you can change the size using this dropdown. I'm going to change it to letter. You can also change the orientation. I'm going to keep landscape. Finally, you can also change the background if you want. But for this example, I'm just going to keep it white. Next, let's add some guides so that the map will be even on our page. Guides are lines that we can set up on different parts of the page to help us align items. The lines will show up in the layout but will not be visible when you export it. To do this, select the Guides tab, and you can use these plus icons to add either vertical or horizontal guides. I want to use the guides to create a 1-inch margin on all sides of the page. Because I'm using a letter size layout, the margins I'm going to input are horizontal 1 inch, as well as 7.5 inches. And then for vertical, I'm going to do 1 inch again, as well as 10 inches. Now you can see on the map there's these red dotted lines. Those are our guides. Now that our page is set up, let's add our map. If you go to the left tool pane, you can see all these options. Click on this one to add the map. Now, using our guides, let's click and drag to put the map on our page. Once the map is added, you can select this Move Item Content button. This will allow you to drag and move the map however you would like. You can also use the mouse to zoom in or out. However, sometimes this is a little difficult to navigate. So an alternative is to go back to your main project and adjust the map however you would like it here. Once you're happy with how that looks, go back to the layout. With the map selected, go to Item Properties and select this first button with the orange arrow. This will set the map extent to match the main canvas extent. That looks much better. Now, let's add a title to our map. Again, on the left side, select this icon to add text and click and drag where we want the title to go. Now, in a lot of software, you can click directly into the box and type. However, this is not how it works in QGIS. Instead, make sure you have the box selected and then go to Item Properties, and under Main Properties, you should see a box here. Here you can click in and name it whatever you would like. Now let's make it look nicer. Let's scroll down to Appearance and click on where it says Font. This will open some font options for us. I'm going to choose Arial, make it bold, and I want 30 points. And finally, I'm going to make it a gray color. Now I'm going to click this blue arrow to go back and select the alignment. For this, I'm going to click Center and Middle. Now that I like how that looks, I'm going to add a legend. Going over here, click on this Add Legend icon and click and drag wherever you would like it to go. Now let's make this look a little bit nicer. First, this title doesn't really make sense for users. I'm going to go back to the main project and find the Layers tab with my layer. I'm going to right click and select Rename Layer. Now I'm going to rename this to whatever I would like my layer to show up as in the legend. It may take a few seconds for this to update. Now, I don't really like how it says Band 1 Gray and Google Satellite. To fix this, make sure this is selected and scroll down to where it says Legend Items. Click this Auto Update so it's off. Now you can select the items here. I'm going to select Band 1 Gray and then click on this red minus to get rid of it. Now I'm going to do the same for Google Satellite. Next, let's adjust the text of the legend. In the Item Properties pane, scroll down and select Fonts and Text Formatting. I'm going to start by changing the subgroup headings font by clicking here and selecting my options. I'm going to choose Arial font, bold, size 9 points, and gray. Now that I'm happy with this, I'm going to select this blue arrow to go back. Then I'm going to adjust the alignment because I want it to be centered. Now I want to change how the color ramp symbol looks since I don't want it so squished. In the Item Properties pane again, scroll down and find where it says Symbol and click the drop down. Here you can change the symbol width and height. I'm going to set mine to 6 millimeters wide and 26 tall. Lastly, I'm going to click here where it says Draw Stroke for Raster Symbols, and I want it off. This will remove the line around the symbology bar. We can also adjust where the symbols align. If you scroll back up to the very top, you'll see this part that says Arrangement. Here you can select if you want the symbols on the left or the right. I'm going to keep it on the left for now. Now I also want to adjust the text of the labels. So once again, I'm going to scroll back down to where it says Fonts and Formatting and find where it says Item Labels. I'm going to click on Item Font and change it here. So I'm going to select Arial I'm going to leave it regular and size 12, and I'm going to make the color gray. Now I'm going to select this blue arrow to go back. Finally, if you scroll all the way down, you can see these two options to add a frame or a background. If you click the drop down, you can change the color. However, I'm going to keep it white. And I'm also going to add a frame by clicking this button. And for color, I'm going to change it to gray. Now I think the legend looks pretty nice. I'm going to move it to where I want it. And I think that looks pretty good. Next, let's add a scale bar. Again, going to this left tool panel, I'm going to click this Add Scale Bar button and drag and drop it where I want it to go. Once again, with the bar selected, I'm going to go to the Item Properties tab and go under Main Properties. Here you can select different styles. Feel free to try some of these out. For now, I'm going to select Line Ticks Up. Next, you can also select the units. I'm going to choose miles. Now I'm going to scroll down to the segments section. I'm going to keep the fixed width at 5, but I'm also going to change the height to 2. Once again, you can do whatever you would like for this part. Now I'm going to scroll down to the display section and click on the drop down. I'm going to scroll down and click on this box that says font. Once again, you can change all the font options here. So I'm going to set this to Arial. I'm going to leave it regular, but I'm going to do 10 font. I'm going to change the color to white so it's a little more visible. Now I'm going to select this blue arrow to go back. I also want to change the line styles. So click on this box here, and you can change the style however you would like. I'm going to change mine to white, and I want to make the width 0.5 millimeters. Now I'm going to click this blue arrow to go back, and I want to do the same thing for the division style. So once again, I'm making it white and 0.5 millimeters. I'm going to click this blue arrow to go back. And the final thing you can do is, once again, you can click this to add a frame or a background if you would like. I'm going to leave these both blank for now. I'm just going to drag this and adjust it so it's positioned where I like it. The last thing I want to do is add a north arrow. So going over to this left toolbar, I'm going to select this Add North Arrow button, and I'm going to click and drag where I want it to go. Now you should see some options appear in the Item Properties tab. If you click on this folder that says Arrows, you should see some options appear. You can test out these different options and see which one you like. For example, I'm going to choose this one. Now, if you scroll down, you can change this even more by changing the fill color and the stroke color. I'm going to leave the fill white, but I'm going to change the stroke to gray. You can also adjust the size. Now, I'm pretty happy with this layout of my ECOSTRESS image. In order to export my image, I can go to the top and select one of these options. This one is to export as an image. This one is to export as an SVG, and this one is to export as a PDF. For now, I'm going to export it as an image, so I'm going to click this button. If you get a warning like this, just press close. Now you have the option to save your layout wherever you would like. You can also choose the format you would like to save it in. I'm going to leave it as PNG, and I'm going to click Save. It will also give you some image export options. If you have something specific you're looking for, you can change these. However, I'm going to leave it as is and click Save. Now my layout should be saved. I'm going to confirm this by going to my Finder and opening the image to make sure it looks how I like. Now you have an exported ECOSTRESS image layout that is ready to be shared. Thank you for watching this ECOSTRESS tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. For more trainings, tutorials, and information, including a written version of this tutorial, go to ecostress.jpl.nasa.gov/documents, which will be linked in the description.